Alrighty guys, after cleaning out the ZD8000 a little bit, these two fans over here are fine. Compressed air got rid of anything that was in there. Same for here, shooting it through here. This one I'm shooting through here. This one, on the other hand, it wouldn't spin, so I had to end up digging into it with tweezers and stuff, and that's what came out. It spins good now, so. But anyways, this trash. I assume because the fans are almost completely open, so that's why. Except for this one seems to have a little barrier around it. Anyways, yeah, that's all I needed to show you. That dust equals killing machines for computers. I might as well wipe this off a little bit. I was using wipes and stuff to just, give it a little clean down. Get rid of some of the residue off the front. Hey guys, Cmos ZD8000 here once again. And, after pulling out some of that dust you saw earlier from inside the fans, I not only decided to clean it out, but also upgraded to a 3.8 gigahertz Pentium 4 CPU other than a 2.8, because 2.8 dual core nowadays is not very fast. So 3.8 is average for today. So yeah, what I'm going to use today is a flathead screwdriver. What am I saying? Magnetized Phillips head screwdriver, and a very small flathead one like this. So yeah. So without further ado, let's start by taking this thing apart from the bottom. Close it up, flip it around, and step number one, always remove the battery. You don't want it powering on by accident. Just put the battery over there. First step I'm going to do, at least, is remove the hard drive and wires attached to the Wi-Fi card. Now, your hard drive may obviously have a caddy to hold it in place, but I don't have a caddy yet. It's on its way. Now, there's wires here attached to the wireless card. Want to, number one, remember where they are, and number two, just take them off, because they're attached to the monitor, which we're going to be removing soon.
Hopefully it helps and we'll get the other one and clear this mess up.
Jump cut, sorry. But yeah, anyways, after taking off the wires, we start by getting rid of all the bottom screws. This one screwdriver I have seems to fit just about everything. If you don't feel like this video is good enough, there's plenty of online tutorials of how to take apart laptops just like this one. And this one alone. I'm going to take these screws out. Make sure you know which screws are which, because you don't want to put a long one where a short one should go, because that will destroy the whole thing. I have a little place, I'm putting them off screen, so. We don't need to remove the memory cover, so we're just going to leave that. If the screws don't come out first try, that's alright. Because more than likely they'll come out as soon as we tip it over. There's that one. That seems like it's the only one not coming out. Now there's 4 along the very back edge. You're going to want to watch out for that. And more than likely these screws are, these screws are small. You're going to have to remember these, and I don't know, just kind of separate them. Now for the screws that were located underneath the battery. Not sure how long these are. I've never taken this model apart before. And they're the exact same length as before, so I'm going to put them in the same pile. Now that we've got all the screws from the bottom out, we're going to unplug this one fan that's right here, because as you note from this particular model, there's 3 fans, and I just remembered that there is one fan connected underneath here, so yeah, you're going to have to remove the memory cover. And I'm just looking to see if the other one is connected there, and no, it doesn't look like it. It's like it's connected someplace else. Looking for any extra hidden screws underneath the little stickers, and it doesn't look like it. And there goes her sticky screws, number 4. Now that we've got that done, we can safely lift up the control pad. Safely lift up the control pad after. There's 2 more screws up here, gotta get them. During reassembly, I'll just speed up all the footage so you won't see me just screwing everything back in for 22 minutes like this one is. How much are you willing to bet that this is going to be 22 minutes? I thought so. I noticed that this one here is a little bit stripped out, but yeah, it's okay. We can always replace it if needed. but it still works. Working is always the best thing. Keep in mind, I have never even booted this thing up before. I don't have a power adapter for it. Just seeing all that dust in it urged me to do something to help it get back to full health and recovery. There. Now we can safely remove the media cover. And it should just pop off like that. There's no wires or anything connecting it, so yeah. Set that aside once more. I'm going to bring the whole thing a little bit closer to me. Now there's more screws you have to worry about. First of all though, I'm going to want to remove this keyboard, and I'm looking for that small yellow screwdriver. Here it is. I was sitting on it. There's little notches here that you do, and it just lifts the keyboard right up. And with that, we've got our thing. This little connector piece. You push out the little side things that lock it in place. And you have removed the keyboard. I'm going to turn on the fans to, number one, help get the dust out. And number two, it's quite hot in here. Great. Bear with me one moment. Yeah, my room has 2 switches that you use. So, yeah. There's screws all around here, and make a separate screw pile for the screen assembly, this little control panel, and pretty much everything. There's a few things connected here. Here, this screen looks like it's the easiest to remove, so there we go. Screen is ready to be removed. As soon as we get the Wi-Fi cables. Yep, the Wi-Fi cables are quite well hidden and stuff. By the looks of it, this whole side panel can come off back here. I'm going to leave it on for now. That's a way to keep it clean and simple. Actually, let's see if we can get the Wi-Fi cables out of here. Yep, they should, in theory, just pull right out. And, yep, we can now remove our screen. I'm going to set the screen aside. And now we have the case to work with. You have the hinge right here. So again, put the hinge screws into your hinge assembly pile. Now we are moving on to the media board pile. Make sure everything's nice and together. Seems like that's the only screw holding down the media board. There's a screw right here. Hope you don't mind me like wandering around. Media board, and then top body case. Doesn't seem like there's very many top body screws. Of course, you always want to be sure and look out anywhere you can. Again, there's a little media connector screw right here. May or may not be the third and final fan. I'm going to look on the bottom, make sure I didn't miss any screws. There may or may not be one underneath here. Doesn't feel like it. Again, I'm just being sure. I did miss one right here though. So again, put that in your lower body pile. I really don't want to remove the COA for Windows. It seems like an odd place to be. With their CD drive unscrewed, we should, in theory, be able to push it out. Yes, we can. This is a DVD CD-RW drive combo. So yeah, I'm going to remove this media thing for now, if I can. If not, I'll put it right back in. Doesn't seem like it, so back in it goes. Looks like there's two screws here that I'm going to remove. These are the same size as everything else. So, upper body it goes. Already 15 minutes, huh? Yeah, my bad. It's probably going to be longer than 15 minutes. That flathead's not large enough. I want to see what type of connection this has before I take it out. Same with this one. Should in theory be able to lift this now. Just not coming off. Which are removing the media cover one last time. And my feet are getting tired from sitting on them. Just getting one final media connector unhooked. I'm going to be careful. No, this isn't a flathead, is it? Isn't it? Oh, is it not? Whatever. There we go. Tiny connection. Probably for the Wi-Fi or something. No, we actually already removed that. So, what is this for? Sorry this is taking so long. I didn't expect it to be like this. I don't want to have very many difficulties for you or me. There we go, the media cover can't come off. Still doesn't explain why it's not coming off though. Ah, here we go. Under the DVD drive there's some screws holding it together. They're short ones again. So I'm going to put it in the same pile that we put the battery screws in. And again, thanks to this handy screwdriver that can fit anything, we are able to lift it. I don't think there's any on the other side. I should in theory be able to lift this. Yay! No, not again. Yay! This is getting out the PC MCIA card protector. And here goes the top panel. Sorry if you couldn't see, and well, there goes that. Here you can see the Cmos battery should you ever need to replace it. This is the speaker cord. Going to remove that, or a mouse port, not entirely sure. Nonetheless, get rid of all the little connectors. And here's another annoying little thing. Not entirely sure how we get that back in, but right now it's nothing we should really worry about. Now this fan has, you can already see gunk up here and some here, so it comes out both ways, just giving it even more ventilation. I've never seen a computer with this much ventilation. It's got even more than the M7700. Now because we don't need to remove the speakers, we don't need to worry about that one screw right there. Just need to worry about this end. Right now, there's one more at the far side right there, connecting a speaker. Now, get one more pile for motherboard screws, and we should be good. There's one that was longer than the rest. I want to keep an eye out for which one that was. Look out for any other screws and unscrew them. Here's another long one. I'm going to put that along with the other long one. You know, brothers like to be together sometimes. Another shorter screw. I'm going to put that along with its buddies. Another short one. I'm just going to take a quick overview, make sure that's all of them. Looks like this is the last one we had to take care of. This one seems smaller, so I'm going to use a smaller screwdriver. This is the one that my screwdriver wouldn't fit automatically. Very, very tiny. Watch out for that one. Now our motherboard should be able to lift up pretty soon. Just looking out to make sure there's nothing else I have to do. There's some screws here. This is holding in the what do you call it? Heatsink. Tiny screws, make sure they're all in their own pile. I assume this is holding down the graphics card or the CPU, not entirely sure. Remove that and save it for later. Again, do a quick overview. Okay, next step is to remove these two things. They're the only thing holding the motherboard in at this point. I'm going to go and get it. There we go. I'm going to get right back to you as soon as I get them off. Alright, that's the last screw, and my bad, there's one more screw holding it in at the very end here. So we're going to put this with the shorter motherboard base screws, because it is a shorter one. Look all around one last time. There's a media board connected to a heat sink fan thing. Make sure it's in its own separate pile, as always. It actually comes right out. It's a USB speaker thing. Looked like the fan was able to lift right up. So I'm going to remove this last, or seemingly last, support screw and put it with its same pile. Now, we already disconnected it from here. And we did that, so we should in theory be able to simply lift this right up. I'm actually going to remove the memory and Wi-Fi card just to make things easier on both myself and you. Now, because the motherboard's barely being held in by anything, if anything, you want to be very, very careful. Taking another quick overview. Make sure I didn't miss a single screw. because trying to pick it up with one screw in will destroy the whole motherboard. There's something holding in the PC MCIA slot, but we're not worrying about that right now. Looks like you could actually have another little thing right here, but just there. Here we go. Yeah. As you can see, there's dust everywhere. Sorry you couldn't see that, but yeah, there's dust. What I'm going to do is take out the entire heatsink and give it a good blowdown with a compressed air canister. I'm going to remove the upper body for now. Actually, let's take a look and see if the fan's clogged up at all. If it was, that got rid of some of it. Here's the inside. Only these two fans should be permanently connected. Make sure that thermal tape doesn't come off. So just get some of the dust off of it. And these fans are pretty much done and good to go. I'm just going to place that back over there, and because we're also upgrading this to a higher CPU, we're unscrewing the heatsink to not only clean up the final fan that is connected to the motherboard, but to also upgrade the CPU. Here we go. The final fan's connected to this one screw from the heatsink and stuff. I'm removing some of that hair and stuff. I don't really know what it is, but I'm removing it. And then I got thermal paste on my hand. I'm also going to be putting in new thermal paste. So, yeah. Just watch out for that. Anyways, now that we are at the CPU, time to unleash the hatch. Push out the CPU. There's a lot of old thermal paste. Put in the new one. Make sure you have the right socket, wrong socket, and you destroy the whole thing. This is the socket S, or 775. So, yep, we have now upgraded the CPU, but before we do anything, I want to get to this final fan that's clogged up on one side. It's held in by a tiny screw I just saw. To be honest, I'm surprised it even spun. Yeah, this seems like it's definitely the biggest fan because it's got the CPU to load. And again, clean up the heatsink some. You can always use compressed air, but I find that my super powerful wind or breath is good enough. Just give it a rundown with either compressed air. Pretty much anything will do. Now, believe it or not, the Pentium 4 CPUs can easily reach over 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're going to want to watch out, and that's why it needs such a massive heatsink. This takes up almost the whole thing. And thankfully, because we got rid of that pesky dirt, we were able to help it get cool. And again, because this has 3 fans to worry about, you may or may not have to do this often with this computer. I say may not because if you treat it right and have the right cooling settings and have like a heat cooling pad, it should work okay. But again, thankfully we removed the dust and didn't take any risks. Now I will slowly begin to put this back together, but for you I'll speed it up so it's about 10 or 20 seconds. As soon as I finish cleaning up this thing, I'll be good to go. It's a harmonica. I will put in the final cooling fan, make sure it's in right, and we will be on our way to getting this whole thing back together. Again, make sure it's in the right hole. I think that's it. If it's not, I know it goes in this way, why is it not going in? Yeah, I'm speeding it up, because quite frankly it takes way too long. So, yeah, I'm putting in background music. Enjoy, I'll get to you at the end. That wasn't that. We got it. Thanks, Game Boy out.